This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised. Okay, welcome to Drinking with Authors Literary Briefs, where we required our guests to be in underwear. Just kidding. That's apparently frowned upon. Let's go. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I was going to start with what I'm drinking. I'm having such a good time. Okay, I'm your host, Erica Lance. Co-hosting with me today is...
Mark Muncie from Erie, Florida.
Yay! And our guest today, Bill Fawcett! Woo! Woo! Believe it or not, they'll add in a whole laugh track now because my producer thinks I'm ridiculous. And it's like, fine, you want a laugh track? And he adds it in and it doesn't go with the actual...
It's something to see, or hear.
I understand they're laughing at us, not with us, even the laugh track.
That's fine. If I get a laugh, I'll take it. Like, I can't take myself so seriously. Okay, so I've been drinking Winking Owl Sweet Red from Aldi, which for everybody who's a bargain drinker out there, it's apparently only $5, and they delivered it to my door. Welcome to...
It's a good week, right? Just
Mark, what are you drinking?
I'm still on my last batch of coffee, the La Petite Mort from Coffee Shop of Horrors, the French vanilla that I highly recommend, and then I'm taking my nightly epilepsy meds, so that'll be enough for me.
So just as a disclaimer for our listening audience, do not take epilepsy meds unless you're required to. That is not part of the Drinking with Authors.
No, I am clinically epileptic, so I have to do that. So thank you very much.
Bill, you are drinking the most fascinating thing that we have on the show.
Yes.
Inca Kola.
Inca Kola from Peru and Ecuador. It is sugar, caffeine, and a bunch of fruit flavors from South America, some of which I don't even know what the fruits look like. And it is really quite good. And it's sort of like a tasty, less carbonated Mountain Dew, but delicious and a fascinating color. And I just learned to like the taste when I was down there stopping around Machu Picchu and all that.
Nice.
Okay, so we're gonna have to unpackage that. This is rapid fire question. I'm gonna go get some of that. I'm gonna figure out how to find that soda. That's gonna be my new mission tomorrow. Okay, so let's rapid fire questions. What is your favorite book of all time?
I would have to do a flip between a couple of different Zelazny's, probably Lord of Light, and Star's My Destination by Alfred Bester, which probably would win if I was forced to, although I hate to not pick Rogers.
I'm a big fan of Night in a Lonesome October myself. That's one of my go-tos every year.
It's a Drinking with Authors podcast. I can force very little to exist in this world. What is your least favorite book?
I was the reviewer for Galaxy's Edge for 5 years. You want a list?
Wow.
You won't find it in my column because we don't do negative reviews. We just didn't review them. I'd probably say the book I read that I would, if you're saying what would I warn people against reading?
Yeah.
There was, the name just flew out of my head. The stage play, the musical about witches. Anyhow, okay, switch gears, pick a different one. So that one's so bad I lost it. I would say probably don't read Bridges of Madison County. The movie was 20 times better than the really horrible book, and it was faked by the Times to get it on the list for another reason.
Yep.
By the way, don't believe the New York Times list.
No.
You know what's interesting? As an author, and this is how I get sidelined in my rapid fire questions. As an author, I didn't realize what it actually took to get on the New York Times bestseller list and the things you had to in the review thing and all this stuff. And I was like, this is kind of bullshit. Like, you should just be able to sell a quantity of books and then you're a bestseller. It's so dumb the way it works.
USA Today works that way.
Yep.
New York Times has 24 bookstores or something like that. They carefully pick them to meet their political agenda.
Yep.
And the books that they sell are the ones that they push. And it took the first 15 years of my career before White Dragon came out, and they had to admit that science fiction could sell. And it wasn't until D&D, and then they created a ghetto for it by creating a different category of book in the Times list for a long time. And it wasn't for another 10 years that trade paperbacks got in.
Yep, that was I got on the
as well.
Erie so got on the bottom.
I'm not real big on the honesty. They're about as honest in books as Blue Cross is in paying claims.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mark?
No, when Erie got on the bottom of the New York Times list, I was thrilled, but we realized we were higher on like 3 other lists. That was insane. We were like, how is this one so low? And then we realized it was just because we weren't in the right stores. And again, we were up against political books that were being bought by political parties and pushed by political parties and stuff. Nonfiction, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, and sometimes, but it gets on because a group is ordered to go get the book.
Exactly. That was like what ours was.
All
we found out was like
from a certain party or something will get the book.
Yep.
I always remember the Kennedy story about his dad. Kennedy wrote 2 books. Profiles in Courage was the second one. His first one was a book about economics. And his father told him Profiles in Courage had to be better because the attic couldn't hold anymore. They were too heavy, because he bought 4,000 copies of the book to get it on a list so he could run for congressman.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was, we found out the one that beat us was giving them away to political party members. Had bought 100,000 copies to give them away. And it was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we were rapid fire and we're divided.
Yeah, let's get back to,
Okay.
Yes,
Let's
no,
get
maybe
back, Mark,
sometimes when I
rapid
can't.
fire question.
All right, I'll ask a rapid fire question. All right, what was your favorite supplement you wrote or worked on with Rolaids?
The first one I did for them, because it started the line, Beastmaker Mountain, which was not only based on a campaign, but all the characters were the people I worked with at TSR. Orla the Wizard was Joe Orlowski.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Have you ever written with your wife?
No.
Did you guys intended to do that, or?
No.
Oh, wow.
I think we've worked together on 2 short stories, but we didn't work together.
Oh, wow.
Someone did a draft, someone did a final. Add this in. But no, we don't write alike. And besides, I don't want to look bad, and she's incredibly better technically than I am. I'm a storyteller and she's a brilliant writer.
What is your, when you're sitting down, do you have to have it quiet to write, or do you want noise? Is there a soundtrack? How do you do your writing?
I don't put music on, because if I put music on, the mood of my book fits the music. And I
wow.
try to engineer that. And as far as writing, I tend to write at a computer in the same place or on a laptop isolated somewhere. But once I get into it, you have to touch me to get me to come back and pay attention to what's going on around me.
Wow. How
So
fast?
hyper focus.
How
Get lost in
fast?
the world.
How fast are you?
Terribly slow, and I watch the keys.
Do you?
I'm a terrible typist. I took it in high school, then broke my thumb in wrestling. So I never learned to do it right. So I still use the Columbus method, hunt and land.
Oh, wow.
All right, if you can meet any historical character or person from history, who would it be?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Very cool.
Why?
Because people don't realize beyond the military just how much he did. He created the modern legal code. He created the French Institute of Science to join him in Egypt. He created the modern concept of bureaucracy, and he created the first concept of general staff. And he created the first corps system for the armies. And he created a legal system that was fair to everybody, including him as first citizen, until he became emperor. Then he did what he wanted. In his Napoleon of 1807 or 8 would be an amazing man. I mean, you don't understand what you owe to him. In order to supply his troops invading Russia, he held a science contest for the preservation of meat. And the process that was developed for his contest is called canning.
Oh my
There were
goodness.
no canned foods until him.
Wow.
Can
It's
it, put it in the
interesting.
can, heat it to where you kill all the bacteria, and it'll last for years.
Wow. I learned something. Did you just learn something, Mark?
I knew that, but it's still fun to hear. It's always
Even
good
wrote
to
a
hear.
romance novel and 2 others.
Wow. So,
He's
okay,
as
I just
short
lost
as
my
me.
question. No, going back to my question. If you could take, with Netflix and everything the way it is, they've taken stuff that we never wanted to be made into something on screen because they were going to ruin it, Dune. So I enjoyed Dune the movie, don't get me wrong, but it was not the book. What would you like to see made into a show? Like if you were able to pick something, go make this right now, what would you see made?
Hammers Slammers.
I would back you on that. I'd put my $10 down to see that.
Yeah, I would watch a good military show with hard edge and all sorts of good high tech that goes off.
Yep, that would be pretty epic. That was a
If
great
I could
scene.
figure out a way to add car chases, it'd be perfect.
You
And I
still
see Vin Diesel in it. I got Vin Diesel starring, so it's good.
Maybe,
maybe.
but not as Hammer, as one of the tank drivers.
No, like I said, one of the exactly. He would.
And the
Okay,
guy who
who's being
plays
cast
Who
as
is the Hammer?
Hammer, Hammer, I would probably look at casting as He Fools You. Hard to tell, but if I had to pick a Hammer, the actor I might for style and looks would be Hugh Laurie.
Oh
man. Yeah.
And if just marking for your information, the guy who runs the White Mice.
Yeah.
The guy who played Spike.
Oh, James Marsters. Can't go wrong with that.
Marston would play
I would totally buy that.
Psychotic bodyguard.
Oh man, see, I was thinking Nathan
James
Fillion.
Marston would be brilliant.
Oh, now I'm seeing James Marsters big time. That's good.
I love
That's
James
good.
Marsters.
See, I'd love to see a Stainless Steel Rat series and then do them both together. So you got like a power hour. Yeah.
The trouble with doing Stainless Steel Rat is it's pretty topical.
That's
go back
true.
and read the books. They're very 60s and 70s. Harry was writing about his political situation and world.
Yeah.
Do you still game?
Yes.
What kind of game are you playing right now?
D&D with an online group, Traveler with an online group, DDO, and Fallout 76 online with friends. And then once a week, another couple in our bubble and us get together. We play various board games, but often we're playing the Marvel Champions, the card game kind of thing.
Nice.
We just got kicked by King, and the last thing we're going to try them again with a different mix.
I love Fallout 76. I was playing that, and I started.
Program was addicted. If that game didn't exist, I'd have the program done that he's working on.
I believe it.
Oh, and World of Warcraft cost me at least 2 books.
Oh my gosh!
I have 5 maxed out characters, but
it was
2 books
City of Heroes
done in the time it took to do them.
The City of Heroes for me. I missed Warcraft, but I got stuck in City of Heroes.
See, I did EverQuest. I was a beta player for EverQuest.
Mm-hmm.
Went down a whole route. So they can't find me now. I sold a whole bunch of characters. Like I'd max them and sell them and max them and sell them. And then went down the World of Warcraft. I just stopped at the Panda Bears. Couldn't do it after the Panda Bears.
I play Classic now. I won't even touch the original game. They dumbified it, in my opinion. Yeah. They made it too simplistic to try and widen the appeal. That's why Classic's getting more people playing than the old game.
Yep.
I believe it. Did you ever play Neverwinter Nights?
All the time. Maxed out 3 characters.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was really good, and the new additions have given it a lot more terrain. But I did spend a whole lot of time in the capital city just hitting the bless every day to get the extra experience to build up all my characters.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I like the Ravenloft expansion. That was nice. That was very good.
I didn't see the Ravenloft. I loved playing Ravenloft when it first came out, but we had an ongoing, I don't know if you guys had this, we had an ongoing joke that if you got sent to Ravenloft, your character got sent to Ravenloft, you're pretty much just screwed. Like it was like almost game over.
Pretty much the rule.
Abandon all hope.
Yeah.
That's like playing Call of Cthulhu. You're just dead. You just don't know when.
Lightning round.
Oh yeah. Let's get back to questions.
Boss man, what the hell? Get back to questions. You're a co-host. Get your crap together, dude.
Okay. So you said Zelazny. Any other authors you would love to bring back just for one more book?
Al Bester. Everything he did was brilliant.
Yeah.
Cornwainer Smith, the guy who wrote his Cornwainer Smith, that wasn't his real name, who only did a very few things. And if you haven't read them, they're totally bizarrely different. And don't read them if you're writing. A terrible experience with that. I was reading Ballad of Lost to Hall and some stuff and all that, and the Golden Ships and all that. And then I tried to write something straight, and it came out in that Chinese fairy tale format that he uses for all those stories, and was totally incomprehensible by everyone. I had to start it over after I read something normal, because what you read is what you get. When I write science fiction, I read mysteries. When I'm writing a mystery, I read science fiction.
Can you read more than one book at a time? Not like at the same time, but can you keep different books going?
Yeah, I'm working on both. I worked on both today.
Not writing, I mean reading. Like I've discovered I can read if it's a real, like a technical, not fiction kind of book. I can read that in a fiction book. But if I read two fiction books, what happens to me at the same time off and on, the character is suddenly this thing and I'm like, what is happening?
No, actually, in fact, I am, because I read normal books because I've got like 5,000 I want to get to out of the library downstairs. And that's not an exaggeration.
I don't doubt it's an
exaggeration. And when I read, but I can't read in bed at night because I'm in the room with Jody. So, and she goes to bed earlier than me. So then I read on a Kindle, and it's a different book. So I'll be reading two of something, and they're normally fiction, at the same time, one during the day and one to go to sleep. And it really isn't a problem with it. But then maybe because I'm used to editing a book and reading a book and writing a book on the same day, my mind's gotten a little more partitioned, or it's just shattered, one of the two.
Yeah, no, I realized, because I actually had this happen with the TV show, because I was watching Vikings and I was watching The Last Kingdom, and I've taken a break from both, and then I started watching the new season of The Last Kingdom, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I had to stop trying to figure out what the crap was happening, because I was like, what show are we in? Because they're the same characters, just different.
Well, yeah. Well, you know how to make an old man sleep in a chair? Let him sit down.
Yep. Story of my life.
I'm an old man, so sometimes I'll be sitting in the easy chair and I'll drift off on a show, and the next show will come on, and it takes 15 or 20 seconds for me to register that this is happening, not this, and they're not related. And your mind's trying to fit it in. And depending, if you're going from ER to Kolchak or something, it's a real interesting.
Yeah, that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
For a second before your mind settles.
Mad props on the Kolchak reference there. That's good. Gotta love some Darren McGavin.
Okay, you're nerding out too. I'm just pointing. Okay,
you can point out my nerding. It's all good. It's all good. We're talking the same language. So.
You when obviously you did reviews, that sort of thing. I've met a lot of authors and a lot of readers who have to finish a book. Like they haven't, I'm assuming you're able to chuck it, right?
Yes. The first time a character does something incredibly indicated and stupid in order to make the plot work, the book goes away.
Wow.
And you mentioned you don't review books. Do you leave reviews for books you love?
No, I only did it when I'm a professional. They paid me to review them. They don't pay me, I don't write it.
You have a lot of people.
First of all, Amazon reviews are bogus, and I don't review on most other sites.
Yeah.
No, totally. Do you have a lot of people that come up to you just because of the nature of what you do in the industries you are that are like, hey, I want you to read my book?
Have had that happen. I give the same reply every time.
What's that?
Unfortunately, due to legal reasons, I cannot read other books that I have not paid someone for and don't own the rights to because of the intellectual properties. So I'm afraid I can't. Sorry.
No,
I'm a book
that's
packager and I can't read other works because I'll be accused of taking your idea.
Yep.
Now,
wow.
I don't explain to them that idea means nothing. I mean, someone comes to me with a book about a short guy who finds a ring and has to throw it in a volcano. It can be it doesn't matter except how you write it.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's been well done once already, but it's not the plot, it's how you handle the idea because things cycle around and they just have variants and original approaches.
Okay.
What was
so as an go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
So
you go ahead.
As an indie gaming developer, right back in the day, and the big wigs were, didn't understand the gaming community, and then as you watched it grow, and now people are watching podcasts and listening to other gamers game.
Yeah, I've done those.
Huh? You've been on it?
I do D&D sessions for charity.
Nice.
Jody and I.
Nice. So from a 1,000-yard perspective, going back, which of the developers do you think would have been the most like, yes, this is where it's going to go, and which one would have been like, no, this is just going to be us here enjoying it and a few thousand fans?
Who had the long view on this?
Yeah, who do you think might have seen that coming?
FASA had it, but got too far ahead of themselves and it hurt the company.
Yeah.
They're back, by the way.
Wow.
Ross Babcock's revised the name and is putting role play and other products out as FASA products.
Jeez.
Again for the first time in the last few years.
I gotta dig out
find them online.
Gotta dig out my Doctor Who RPG.
And with Robotech, and then they tried to put it in before the technology could handle it. They tried to do POV electronic gaming and stuff.
Yep.
I would say Steve Jackson's always had a handle on what works and what can sell.
Good point.
Steve's always been brilliant at it. He's a friend, and I always trust his judgment on it. In fact, he was one of the readers and gave me some really important input on the Never Again military book. He read the book for me and made an excellent suggestion on character development for me that I'd left out.
What are your favorite sci-fi games? Did you play Cyberpunk and stuff like that?
Yeah, you could say that. I helped create it. I like DC Heroes too.
Wow.
But as far as I'm a D&D player from the first day to the last.
Do you?
Anything else is just a spin-off from it. And I must admit that Empire of the Petal Throne was good. And a few others that were worth playing and a lot of fun with slightly different systems. And
what is your favorite
modules?
D&D?
What?
What is your favorite version of D&D to play?
5 now, because they combine my favorite versions 1 and 3.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
They did it right after destroying it with 4.
4, yeah.
I don't want to talk about 4. I feel like 4 is the
Nobody does. Don't worry.
Nobody talks about 4.
It's like the drunken cousin that you don't invite to the party.
No, I remember I hadn't played in a while. I love Forgotten Realms and Myth Draenor. Like I love this storyline of those particular modules. That whole thing, and then stuff happened and things happened, and then I was brought. A friend of mine came before, and I was reading the book, and I literally just closed it and went no, and I left. I was like,
it happens. Questions.
Oh, whoa, okay, wow. Wow.
It's getting late. We gotta wrap up soon.
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine. Okay, what is your writer quirk that you do that you have to catch yourself or whatever? Do you have like a word? Do you have a way you do something that your editor comes back and goes, stop this?
Not so much as my editors sometimes wish I would discover commas. But generally, no, I don't. I'm sure I do, but I'm not aware of it enough that the ones that haven't been beaten out of me are probably permanent, and I'm not aware of them. At one time, I had penchant for sadisms. I also had a penchant for unattributed dialogue, and it being artificial sounding because I tried to make it snappy instead of like someone would say. That was beaten out of me by some very good editors at Ace early in the process.
What is your like number one piece of advice you give a young, not young, I don't want to say young authors, newer authors?
Don't quit your day job. Write what you want to, making it fit the mood of the time, not the trend of the time. Don't try and write what people are reading. By the time you get it out, they won't be. But write something you want to do well with, that you will enjoy, that you will be creative at. And then never forget that you're communicating the story, and tell the whole story. Just don't tell the parts that interest you.
Wow.
That's the main problem amateur writers have, is they only talk about the parts that interest them and then gloss over the rest, or spend 72 pages explaining the culture that's only relevant to 6 scenes in the book.
No, that's very true. What is your favorite fan moment that you had where you got to meet somebody that you, I call it fangirl over, but that you were like, I'm so excited to meet this person? Who was that for you?
Maybe you got to remember what I do at DragonCon.
I know, but even at DragonCon, there's got to be people that you meet that you're like, this is awesome.
Probably Stanley.
Yeah.
Nicest guy I knew. Wonderful to deal with. I remember one time we were doing a banquet. I was emceeing, and geez, we almost lost him. Tell that in a second. But after the banquet, we had brought in to the DragonCon banquet 6 families of disabled veterans in the vets.
Oh, wow.
And seated them in the back because they wanted to, it was there, they wanted to do it. And we always do all these charities. Last year we raised $150,000, or the year before we raised $150,000 for charity at the con, and donated 2,300 units of blood and plasma.
Wow.
I mean, we're very charity oriented. It's very public minded. That's why the Dragon Awards are people's choice. That's how we think. Remember, everybody running the con is a fan. There's no professionals. It's not for profit effect. We are a corporation. We have to make money, but that's so we can afford to do next year. But we don't think like we've turned down big money. I don't own any of it. I just work there, but I know the owners, and they have turned down big money because they love it. They do it because they want a fan convention. They could sell it to San Diego Comic-Con and turn it into a money machine, but we don't want that. Then there wouldn't be a DragonCon. Anyhow, Stanley waited after he'd been working all day. The banquet ended at 10 at night, and he spent the next half hour sitting with each family and talking to them and coming up and having them do pictures with him, even though I knew he was exhausted.
Wow.
And doing that. Now, I think probably my biggest fanboy moment involving Stan was I was working with a thing called the Armory, which was weapons display at DragonCon, modern weapons and swords. And one of the people there was a gentleman whose name I won't use, but he was the founding officer of SEAL Team 6.
Wow.
One of the most, at 70, I would count on him in a room with 12 thugs to walk out. Just give him a butter knife. And,
A glass of milk.
you know, like that scene with, where he just puts the little screw top on the side.
Yep.
Anyhow, and he was at the Armory, and I was talking with him, and he said, I said, you know, you've been really great teaching. He said, Bill, can you do me a big favor? Can you seat me at the banquet somewhere near Stan Lee? I've been a comic collector all my life.
Nice.
This is a man in his 60s. And I went, yeah, I think I can work something out. So when the convention ended and Stan Lee was there, this was the second year he'd come, I brought over the founding member of SEAL Team, officer of SEAL Team 6, and introduced him to Stan Lee. And Stanley went, SEAL Team 6, founding member, and they fanboyed at each other for about 10 minutes.
Nice.
And they both felt so, and I just felt so good being able to do that because it made them both so happy. Stan met a real life hero. He met his hero. And it was a warm feeling to be able to put someone like that together. It's like when I find a couple authors who want to work together and I introduce them, or when I get someone connected to somebody, you get a sense. See, I don't remember the people I've met. I like to think that what I'll leave behind is a lot of people I helped.
I think that's
And
very,
what
very
I'll
true.
remember.
I think so. I think you've had a huge impact, and probably impacts that you don't even realize you've had on writing. You can have the humility. I can say this though, because I'm the host, so I get to say this, that the impact that you've had and what you're known for in creating from a community standpoint is huge. It is huge because as authors, a lot of times we can be segregated because of the nature of it. And you have done a ton to bring the community together and have it be what it is.
Or the myth has just far exceeded the reality as usual.
In my mind, I will build you up like a superhero, Iron Bladder superhero. Like that's.
No, I'm barely Robin and I stumble. I'm more like Catwoman's sidekick, kitten.
You have a clever
Catwoman. I can agree with that. So
anyhow, no, the Stan Lee story, just for a quick, probably the most important thing I ever did for the entire industry was that I was the first year Stan was there and I was the moderator at the banquet and I announced Stan Lee Day, and Stan has got the councilman from the city of Atlanta has declared that next day Stan Lee Day, and here's your plaque and everything. Stan got so excited that instead of running to the stairs, he ran straight for the platform, which was an 18-inch level up. Now, this is a guy in his 90s and gets there, he's got enough momentum to get one foot on it, start moving up, and then I saw him start going back. And I was right next to him, and I grabbed both his arms and pulled him up, which didn't take much because he weighed half what I do, and pulled him up and put him on the stage. And all I could think of while he was giving, unfazed, gave his wonderful speech, thank you speech. And all I could think was, we were almost the con that with that concrete floor probably would have killed Stan Lee. And we'd had to shut the whole of Dragon Con down right there out of shame. And I was practically shaking.
Oh, man.
I doubt he
Thank you for saving Stan Lee.
Yes.
Unsung hero.
Yeah, no, it was not being embarrassed by killing Stan Lee, unsung idiot.
Well, see, that's the history that you're talking about. You were part of the history that you write about.
Yes, a history mistake that was avoided right there. So
yeah, well, that would have been the end of Dragon Con, I suspect. We'd have been hated universally.
Oh my goodness. Well, Bill, you have been amazing. We have to wrap up literary briefs, even though I've jacked you up on caffeine now, so we'll let you loose on Jody.
Well, don't forget to read my brilliant wife, Jody Lynn Nye's books, too. She's better than I am.
She is, actually, her episodes are airing as we're doing this podcast. Her episodes are airing. So,
oh, dear. You mean I'm not watching my wife's episodes? I'm going to be in trouble.
Oh,
that's it.
I'll send you the link. She'll never know.
Okay, that's good.
Bill, thank you so much again for being on the podcast. You have been amazing and wonderful.
I hope I didn't divert too many times too far, but thank you.
You were perfect, and I can't wait when we're at Dragon Con, under the way we figured out how to do it, to come and meet you in person. That would be amazing.
Yeah, don't tell anybody except your viewers that I said that, but anyhow.
Yeah, I'll tell all 5 of them. No,
we'll edit that last little 5 minutes out. We'll edit that last little 5 minutes out. It'll be fine.
It might be a good idea to edit those out, actually.
Okay.
We'll put in a laugh track. Got it.
I'm gonna have to go tell Adam that right away, because otherwise he'll be like, this. No, it's fine. I'll make sure that's out of there. But thank you so much, Bill, for everything.
Our pleasure. I'm happy to be with you. Good interview. Lots of fun. Hope,
yay.
And certainly we covered a little ground.
Yep,
Yes,
we hit the spectrum. So thank you, Bill, and it's good to see you. And tell Jody I said hi again, and we will see you.
Mark. Thank you for having me, both of you.
Absolutely. Send my love to Jody. She is amazing. And this has been Drinking with Authors. I've been Erica Lance.
And I've been Mark Muncy.
And our guest has been Bill Fawcett. And we'll see you next time.
Hooray.